The practice of mindfulness is what we do when we say, let's lower or close your eyes. It's what you do when you go home and you follow the instructions to do a practice, or when you do a practice however you may do so. Even the tea as a warm beverage, and ways that we can pay attention to the experience of the sensation, warmth, etc., bring us into that moment. Those are practices because we're sort of intentionally engaging in them to sort of sink a little bit more fully into the moment and perhaps change the structure and functions of the brain in ways that we'll talk about in a little bit, that can actually have a long-term effect and not just a momentary feel-good aspect. But it's also just a way of being, right? So let's not have words throw us off too much, but they will, because we're lawyers and we care very much about words. You know, mindfulness. You're mindful. Aware. Alert. Attentive. Present. Some are more vague than others. Some are more specific in some ways. The ones that are very specific can lose it a little bit. The ones that are vague can not quite catch it or overcatch it. And we could go on and on and on. Who would like to be aware when you're in class? Who would like to be aware when you're having a conversation with somebody? Who would like to be aware when you're driving? Okay, well, if you're interested in mindfulness, what you're really interested in is being aware. That is to say, if you're interested in being aware, then mindfulness would be right up your alley. Who's interested in being alert? Who's interested in being attentive? Who's interested in being present? Okay. We could go on and on and on. Now, there are subtleties to the practice of mindfulness that we will get into. For example, it's hard to probably be any of these things if you're in an agitated or too agitated state. Right? To be a little bit relaxed and at ease probably facilitates a lot of these. Not in every instance. If you're in a big fight and somebody's coming after you, you probably need a little bit of agitation or something. But too much and you'll squander the moment. But relaxed is helpful. To be relaxed and at ease. Next week, a bit of the time that we're going to spend this week is on the breath, and we'll talk about the breath today. Some way that we can cultivate the more relaxed state. We touched on this last week. To be able to concentrate is helpful. If you want to be attentive, concentrate sounds like it's right up the alley of being attentive, alert, to concentrate, to be able to, but we talked about how concentrate might be over here, but nonetheless to be able to concentrate. So there's being relaxed, there's being concentrated, a concentrated mind, the ability to focus and place your attention somewhere. And then there's the ability to keep your attention there. Now notice the difference. It's one thing to say, I'm looking at Garrett. Okay, I'm focused. I'm concentrated. My attention's concentrated on Garrett. There's a lot there, right? I mean, his hair and his color. There's a whole lot there. There's nonverbal cues. There's all sorts of stuff. So to even say I'm attentive, I'm looking at Garrett is hard to say. I'm missing a lot, right? And the more I'm there and less I'm somewhere else, the more likely I am to gather the data that's there to be gathered. And the more relaxed and steady I am, the more likely I am to be able to take in that data. And the more relaxed and steady I am, and the more my concentrative capacity is refined, I'm able to stay there from moment to moment. And then there's a sound out there, but I stay, right? And then my cell phone goes off in the corner, and I begin to think, oh, I wonder if that's my daughter calling, but I don't get pulled away. This is what we're exploring with mindfulness, to be able to stay, to remain, at least if that's what we choose to do. It could be that I'm waiting for a call, and I would be to make that decision. But I'm making that decision as opposed to being rigidly stuck on something or unable to stay with something. So bear in mind relaxed, and relax is important. So if you do a practice that's relaxing, and I say, yes, but what did you notice? And it doesn't matter if you were relaxed or not relaxed, it's the practice of paying attention. Know that there's great value to relaxation. In the law, there's enormous value reducing stress and relaxing. And this class is certainly in the service of that. But that's relaxation as a piece of the mindfulness pie. That's not mindfulness per se. Does that make sense? And to be able to concentrate and focus is helpful. But if you're so focused on something and somebody's saying, hey, hello, hello, then that's You're not really aware of the larger field of your experience. So we'll come back to these things, but note that there's relaxation, there's concentration, there's mindfulness, and they are different flavors of something. But of course, I would say if we're really present, this one moves into a slightly more exalted realm. If you're really present, you're probably in a relaxed state. You're probably in a concentrate, you have a mind that's able to concentrate and attend. And you're probably able to stay put. Hence, you're present. Okay. So they come together and they reinforce each other. So who remembered, who completely, oh, my water, I forgot my tea. I love my tea so much. Golden chai. Best tea. Best tea. What was the tea like?
Chai tea.
It's so good. The moment I drop it in, it's like it instantly fills the flavor. It's so flavorful.
Do you have a little note?
A little note? Oh, like a little thing? So this is for you.
Thank you very much.
Now, I want you to drink it. I request that you drink it, much the way Sanjana has reminded us that we can drink it like this. Sensations. What sensations am I likely to be aware of if I'm paying attention to the sensations in the body right now? There's a warmth there. Now, if I'm talking to somebody, if my mind's lost in thought, I'm not going to notice that. So, to draw my attention to it is to draw my attention to something that's actually arising in this moment. And to feel pulled away and unable to do so is actually to not have the capacity to be present, even if I would choose to, or to stay present. So it might feel good to go, oh, this feels so good. In fact, the thought, this feels so good, can be a very satisfying one. In fact, the thought can make the moment even more satisfying than it actually is. Just like I don't like the way it smells, can like take away from the moment, make it even less satisfying than it ultimately could be. So to be aware of the sensations, and to sit with them. Very nice. Yes, I'm attending to the sensations of the tea, the warmth of the tea, the warmth of the beverage. I'm attending to the whatever. It's hard to even put into words, right? Like, I don't even have to put it into words. I can feel it. And when my mind wanders, what would I do if I were practicing mindfulness the way we're learning it so far?
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back to what?
The tea.
The tea. That's sort
Sensations.
of the sensations, right? Which is here. The tea is sort of, gratuitously assisting. Very nice. Don't miss that, because you're going to be drinking beverages. Like right now, are you aware of the sensations of the? And in this case, you may not be able to feel it, but what could you feel on your fingers? The rub, exactly. And we'll explore in time why it is that feeling the texture matters. Why that matters. Does actually knowing the texture of that matter? Not if you're not in that business. But what we're cultivating, the skills that we're developing, and the states of mind that we're able to more fully and readily establish through this practice could be immensely consequential in the practice of law and in life. So let's not confuse, again, I mentioned this earlier, the content, in this case the texture of the cardboard, from the awareness we're bringing to the content. Let's not confuse the content, I'm having a thought about something that's an annoying thought or something, from the awareness we're bringing to the thought. We're interested in the awareness that we're bringing to our experience, and the experience is always changing.